morning in Japan. In a small apartment filled with light, Susan prepares breakfast while her husband gets ready for another day at work. For years, Susan and her husband have been side by side, building not only their home, but also a small construction company. It is a company that stands as a symbol of their determination. Every wall they raise, every home they complete, is not just about work. It is about providing shelter, creating comfort, and giving others the same sense of belonging they cherish in their own home. And they are not alone in this journey. Joining them is Takuya, a childhood friend who has been part of their lives for as long as they can remember. He lives nearby and often starts the day by walking with Susan's husband to the office. Their friendship stretches back through school days and early dreams, and now it has become part of the foundation of their shared career. When they first started, things were not easy, but together, the three of them shared every step: late nights drafting plans, early mornings meeting clients, and weekends spent at dusty work sites instead of resting. Slowly, through persistence, their company began to grow, not into something enormous or flashy, but into something stable, steady, and respected. Through it all, Susan was more than just a supportive wife. She was a thoughtful partner in both family and work. She kept the balance between responsibility and care, reminding everyone that success is not just about numbers. It is also about kindness, patience, and staying true to one's values. And for Takuya, her friendship meant a constant reminder that life is not only about ambition, but also about the people you share the journey with. The beauty of this morning in Japan lies not in something extraordinary happening, but in how ordinary life can quietly hold the extraordinary. The sound of laughter over breakfast, the sight of three friends stepping out into the day together, the feeling of continuity that comes from years of shared effort, all of it creates a sense of peace and purpose. What made their relationship remarkable was not just the shared work, but the trust and respect they had for one another. Still, as in any story of people building something meaningful, there were moments of quiet tension. Takuya, in his younger days, had carried unspoken feelings for Susan. But what truly shaped his character was the way he chose to handle those emotions. Instead of letting them grow into conflict or resentment, he came to a deeper realization. True happiness is not about possession, but about appreciation. He understood that the most precious thing he had with Susan and her husband was not a fleeting desire, but a lasting friendship, one that gave him strength and purpose. It was not an easy realization, but it was an important one, and it became the turning point in his life. By embracing kindness over longing, he discovered a kind of freedom. He could stand beside them, not with regret, but with gratitude. His friendship with Susan's family grew even stronger because it was now rooted in honesty and respect. The three of them went on to face many challenges together in their construction business. But in every trial, their bond proved unshakable. They supported each other not only as colleagues, but as companions in life's journey. Susan played an irreplaceable role in those moments. She encouraged her husband when projects seemed too heavy to carry. She reminded Takuya that his talents were valuable, that his ideas mattered, and that his dreams could shape the future of their work. Her kindness was not just spoken in words, it was reflected in her actions, in the way she welcomed both men home after a long day, in the way she found light even in difficult times. After every tiring day of work, especially at the construction site, the three of them sat together, watching the sun fade behind the city. The air was cool, and the quiet hum of the streets seemed to echo their own thoughts. In that silence, Takuya realized that his life was richer because of the bond they shared. He had a company that gave him purpose, friends who treated him like family, and a future where his worth was not measured by what he could claim, but by what he could contribute. Sometimes the deepest growth comes not from chasing what we think we want, but from learning to value what we already have. In that moment, Takuya made a promise to himself that he would always stand by Susan and her husband, not as someone carrying hidden regrets, but as a loyal friend and partner in both life and work. That decision became the foundation for everything that followed. The construction company grew steadier, and the trust between them became their greatest strength. It was no longer just a business. It was a living example of what can be built when people choose kindness, loyalty, and compassion over selfishness. And so, what might have been a moment of division became a moment of unity. Instead of drifting apart, their friendship deepened. Instead of conflict, there was harmony. And instead of regret, there was gratitude. The years moved forward with a steady rhythm, and the little construction company that once seemed fragile became a symbol of stability. Their story became less about what they built physically and more about what they built emotionally: trust, loyalty, and a sense of belonging. Life often presents us with crossroads moments where we must choose between desire and duty, between short-term emotions and long-term values. Takuya faced such a moment, and his choice transformed not only his own path, but also the future of the people around him. By placing friendship above fleeting feelings, he created space for a stronger, purer bond. How different things might have been if he had acted out of impulse or clung to regret. The company could have fractured, the friendship could have broken, and what was once a warm home might have been filled with distance. But that did not happen, because kindness was chosen over conflict, and respect was chosen over resentment. This is where the deeper beauty of their story emerges. Susan's role reminds us of another important lesson: the quiet power of empathy. She never dismissed Takuya's presence, never treated him as anything less than family, but also never allowed her loyalty to her husband to waver. Instead, she balanced compassion with clarity, showing that being kind does not mean being uncertain, and being supportive does not mean crossing boundaries. Her wisdom created safety for everyone, and it became the glue that held them together. And what about her husband? His strength was not in loud declarations, but in the steady way he trusted his friend and valued his wife. His acceptance of Takuya as both a business partner and a lifelong friend speaks to the idea that loyalty grows stronger when nurtured with openness. From their journey, we learned that love and friendship are not separate worlds. They can live side by side as long as we approach them with honesty and care. Takuya's friendship was not diminished because it was not romantic. It was deepened because it was genuine. Susan's compassion was not weakened by loyalty. It was strengthened because it was guided by clarity. And her husband's trust was not a sign of naivety. It was proof of confidence in the people closest to him. Together, these lessons show us that the relationships we value most are built not on perfection, but on choices. Day after day, moment after moment, choosing kindness over pride, understanding over judgment, and sincerity over pretense is what makes bonds last. The true climax of their story is not in one dramatic event, but in this quiet truth. They discovered that loyalty, empathy, and kindness can transform even complicated emotions into something meaningful, lasting, and beautiful. Looking back, what began as an ordinary life in a small Japanese apartment became something extraordinary, not because of wealth or fame, but because of the quiet strength of human connection. Susan, her husband, and Takuya showed that happiness is not measured by what we own, but by how we choose to live alongside one another. Their construction company stood as a reflection of their own lives. Every building they worked on represented more than just walls and rooftops. It symbolized resilience, cooperation, and the determination to create something that would last. Their story is proof that lasting happiness often comes from the courage to prioritize values over impulses and sincerity over selfishness. We may not all run a construction company, but each of us is building something every day. We are building relationships, building trust, building futures. The beauty of Susan's family and Takuya's friendship lies in their decision to walk forward together, not apart. They did not let difficult feelings divide them. Instead, they transformed those feelings into deeper understanding. This is not only a story about friendship, it is a story about the power of kindness, about the way sincerity can reshape relationships, and about how true loyalty can withstand the test of time. In the end of the day, what truly matters is not the size of the company we build, the number of projects we complete, or the possessions we collect. What matters is the warmth of our homes, the sincerity of our friendships, and the love and respect we share with the people who walk beside us. This simple story, set in a quiet neighborhood in Japan, reminds us that ordinary lives can teach extraordinary lessons. When we put kindness and compassion first, we are building something far greater than we realize. We are building a life that can weather any storm, a legacy of trust, and a happiness that endures. So let this be the reminder. Life is not only about what we achieve, but about how we achieve it and who we choose to walk with along the way. Just as Susan, her husband, and Takuya discovered, the strongest foundations are always built with sincerity.